because I really did. First off, I didn't know if the orchestra would get through the piece from beginning to end, which they'd never played as a single piece from beginning to end until the opening night. And secondly, I didn't know if at the end of it there'd be complete silence from, thousands of people. And so it was scarier than any fucking thing I've ever done in my life. It was more, I don't know, it'd be like doing, if I was an Oingo Boingo playing at the Universal Amphitheater, but for whatever reason, I was playing for an audience of 4,000 people that had never heard of me before and had no idea what to expect. And there'd be no chance for them to let us know until the very end of the show. It would be like that might have felt, of course, which is impossible, but that's the only thing I can relate it to. What it's like to do a concert, a show, a performance, and have no clue if your audience loves you, hates you, or is completely indifferent until it's all over. And the reaction was wonderful, but what a relief.
Now, along those lines, Forbidden Zone, which is your first score, is coming back as a colorized movie. This is a wonderful film that your brother Richard directed.
Yeah.
And it's going to be playing at the American Cinematheque. What's it like to have this come back colorized for you?
Well, you'd have to ask Rick. For me, it's still the same music, so, it's not different for me, but I think it's great for him and for fans of the movie. It'll be like a whole different experience.
Now, I have to mention one film I think an extraordinary film, and one of your best scores in my opinion, and probably a movie whose soundtrack will easily outgross the actual film, is Errol Morris's Standard Operating Procedure, a film by Abu Ghraib. I can only imagine, it's hard enough to watch the film once. I can only imagine what it was like to watch those images over and over and over as you were scoring it.
Oh, I had so much fun scoring Standard Operating Procedure. Everybody kept asking me that. I said, oh my God, you must be so depressed. I said, I'm having the time of my life. I'm loving this. Because you have to realize Errol didn't want me to score a picture. He wanted me to look at the movie and then to start writing music, thinking of the movie. And I did. I just started writing music. I had the best time I've ever had in my life. He's so wonderful and he's so imaginative, and I just started writing and writing and writing. And then in the end, I did actually take some of the pieces I'd written for him and then do them to picture, because they'd cut them in and I thought they didn't quite fit. Then he was like, I want you to do this to everything. I go, well, I can't. We don't have the budget to record it all both ways. But I tried to pick a number of scenes that he thought were important and then take what I'd already written and that he'd already cut in and then do a little bit of recomposing it to the scenes. But only for about 4 or 5 scenes was I actually going to picture. And the rest I just was watching the movie and then scoring. I loved working on it. It wasn't depressing for me at all. I was writing really freely, and when I'm writing freely, I don't care what I'm watching. You could be like, Abu Ghraib or Pee Wee Herman. I'm happy. So I was happy writing Standard Operating Procedure, and it was a great experience for me. I'm sorry more people didn't see the film, but hopefully it'll find a life over time.
Now, later this year, you're going to be reteaming with Gus Van Sant, whom you were Oscar nominated for Good Will Hunting, and this film is Milk, where Sean Penn gives an amazing performance as Harvey Milk, who is assassinated. Tell us about what we can expect with this project.
Well, I'm already in the middle of that, so I'm already deep into Milk world, Harvey Milk world, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a drama and a great way to follow Wanted and Hellboy 2 with a movie that has very little sound effects and no fighting at all. And I love working with Gus, so he hasn't heard a note yet, but I've been writing for 2 weeks, and he'll hear music soon. But I really don't know what to expect other than Sean Penn and the cast do amazing performances, and Sean Penn is great. And I'm enjoying myself so far, but hopefully it'll stay on track of being really wonderful.
Now, this I expect is going to be just a big artistically rewarding summer for you as a composer. Do you hope between Hellboy Wanted and the ballet to get that recognition as someone who is a quote artistic composer and someone who is a popcorn composer and delivers both?
No, I'm not really hoping for anything. All I'm ever hoping for is just a chance to write. So I've had a fun year going between all these different kinds of things, and great challenges. I mean, Standard Operating Procedure and Rabbit and Rogue were both completely new things for me. Scoring a picture without looking at a picture, scoring a ballet, which I've never done, not scoring, creating a ballet, doing these two wonderful action films, and then going to a lovely drama. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody but myself that that there's still a way to keep writing imaginatively somehow. I mean, that's all I want to do. So as long as I keep getting the chances to do that, that's all I want.
For me, you're at your best when you're scoring films, projects about outsiders. Do you view yourself as an outsider to Hollywood who's more than proved himself, who's really made it?
I'll always feel like an outsider in Hollywood, and even though I know that I've achieved a lot of recognition and that they pay me a lot occasionally, I still feel as much of an outsider now as I did when I started. So yeah, I mean, I always felt like an outsider. As a kid, when I was in a band, I didn't feel any association with any other bands really. I felt like I was just in a universe unto myself. For better or for worse. I mean, I would have liked to have, but I just never, it was like just our own world. And as a composer, it just goes with the territory, being in your own world. I mean, in 23 years, I've hardly ever met any other composers. So it's not like you have any rapport with a musical community of other writers. It's a world that's completely solo up until the very last second, when you're around suddenly a whole orchestra for a few days. But for anywhere between 6 and 12 weeks, I'm working every day by myself. Maybe twice a week or 3 times a week I'll get a visit from a director, and there's 2 of us, and it's back to solo, and suddenly I'm with 90 players for 4 days, and then back to being solo for 3 months. So it's easy to feel that way, and since I've all felt that way my whole life anyhow, of course I always lean towards the outsider in any story. That's what I gravitate or grab onto.
Well, thank you so much for joining us at On the Score, Danny. Wanted is now in theaters with its score on Lakeshore Records, and Varese Sarabande releases the soundtrack for Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, which opens on July 11th. Then you can see Forbidden Zone at its retrospective screening with Richard Elfman at the American Cinematheque in Hollywood on July 30th. Danny Elfman and Twyla Tharp's opera, Rabbit and Rogue, is at the Orange County Performing Arts Center from August 6th to August 10th. Go to ocpac.org for more information. Our show today has been recorded and edited by Alex Silverman and produced by Mark Northam. And I'm Daniel Schweiger, showing you that it's music that makes the movies groove at On the Score at filmmusicmag.com.
This program is a production of Film Music Radio, the home of film music on the Internet.